George Davis, weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on CVM TV.
Judge Hatchett has seen it all, and with over 20 years on the bench, she knows when someone is trying to get away with it.
This is not on Harold, honey. This is on you.
Small business owners and independent contractors get affordable insurance with Sagicor Pro Shield. The time by Sagicor Life is
7 o'clock.
Tonight in CVM News at 7, tension hardens amid Caribbean cement wage dispute. Manchester police tighten security after deadly market shooting. Chief Justice slams PSOJ's emancipendence proposal. And also this evening, protest erupts in Hanover over road condition. In the business report, the Norman Mann International Airport's $480 million securitization. And in sports, Tyreek McGee returns to Reggae Boys setup. From Kingston, Jamaica, this is CVM News at 7. I'm Curlin Brown for Monday, October 7, 2024. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, all is not well between Caribbean Cement Company and 57 of its production workers, represented by the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE. The situation involves a conflict that has arisen concerning the working conditions, wages or other employment-related issues. Now, there is uncertainty what this stalemate could mean if a meeting scheduled for tomorrow does not resolve the issues. Here's Ramon Gordon with the details.
Just as it seemed the cement shortage that has been affecting the construction industry was about to cease, more trouble builds. Caribbean Cement, sole manufacturer of Portland and blended cement in Jamaica, is facing unrest among its production workers because of unresolved wage and fringe benefit negotiations. Vincent Morrison, the president of the Union of Clerical, Administrative and Supervisory Employees, UCASE, has voiced concerns about the potential consequences if the workers' demands aren't addressed promptly. Morrison says two critical striking points have led to heightened tensions. The first issue revolves around Caribbean Cement's proposal for a 13.5 wage increase, which was presented during a meeting last Thursday.
The company has been doing extremely well. And we are of the view that with all that is happening to the cost of living, inflation, the workers shouldn't be paid in terms of a wage adjustment anything less than 40% at this time.
This proposed increase is intended to cover a 3-year period. However, it has been met with strong opposition from the union. UCASE has countered the offer with a demand for a 40% wage increase over the same period, an amount 3 times higher than what Carib Cement offered. The second major concern raised by Morrison pertains to a 2% basic wage profit payout, a profit-sharing benefit for the same period spanning January to December 2023.
And the company position is that they want to introduce a new scheme. And they are saying until we agree to a new scheme, they will not implement this 2% basic wage adjustment to the workers. We are not in agreement.
Morrison says he served a 21-point claim on the company earlier this year for improved wages and fringe benefits on behalf of the 57 production workers. After 7 meetings, he says there is still no resolution to negotiations. The parties are scheduled to meet Tuesday. When CVM News contacted Carib Cement, their representative refused to comment on the matter. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
And tension remains high in sections of Manchester after a deadly market shooting which left 2 dead and 5 others wounded. The police have been moving fast to tighten security and prevent further violence, as you'll also hear in this update from Ramon Gordon.
Manchester is on high alert following a deadly gun attack near the Mandeville Market last Friday that left 2 dead and 5 others injured. In a direct response, the head of the Manchester Police, Deputy Superintendent Kerry Duncan, led a tour of the market on Monday, signalling a shift in security measures aimed at curbing potential reprisals.
We're following some very strong leads in that incident last week. We understand that we are also looking at persons from our neighboring parishes, and we hope to make a breakthrough very, very soon.
During the tour, Duncan announced that public gatherings in certain areas of the parish would be restricted as part of the police's plan to prevent further bloodletting.
Yes, we have some tighter security measures within the space, in that we are looking at some areas, particular areas. We are doing some shutdowns because, as we understand, the persons are looking at places where people gather to exact revenge killings. So we are looking at shutting down some areas. For the time being, for the majority of this parish, we won't be having any events being permitted in certain areas.
The victims of the most recent mass shooting have been identified as 30-year-old Melissa Merchant and Andre Bradford. Investigators believe Bradford was the target of the attack, but stray bullets struck bystanders, turning a regular Friday morning into a scene of chaos.
As far as our intelligence is suggesting, the young man that was killed last week Friday was in fact the target of the attack. And in recent times there have been some incidents between persons from Chief and other areas in the community. In the community. What is interesting to note also is that we know as a fact that these areas are getting some outside influence from persons who live abroad.
Mandeville Mayor Donovan Mitchell, who visited the victims in hospital, condemned the violence and urged members of the community to assist the police. In the meantime, the police have moved to settle public concern.
What they saw last week Friday will never happen again in this country.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
In another update, the pushback continues against a recent proposal from the private sector organization of Jamaica, the PSOJ, to merge Emancipation and Independence Days into a single holiday weekend. The highest ranks of the judiciary have now joined the opposition, with Chief Justice Brian Sykes voicing strong objections. Again, our reporter is Ramon Gordon.
Being Chief Justice today began in earnest on August 1, 1834.
Pushback continues against a recent suggestion from the private sector organization of Jamaica, PSOJ, with the highest ranks of the judiciary now voicing strong opposition. Chief Justice Brian Sykes has rejected the proposal to merge the nation's emancipation and independence celebrations into one extended holiday weekend, arguing that the significance of emancipation should not be reduced to an economic event.
I would have thought that the emancipation of enslaved persons of African descent, which was, in our case, the antecedent to independence, would warrant more analysis than to be described as a mere 5 days, encapsulating, I put in that word, Jamaica's journey from abolition of slavery to the achievement of self-governance.
The PSOJ had proposed the combined holiday to boost business productivity, which they argue is hindered by 2 major holidays in close succession. However, the proposal has drawn sharp criticism, with figures like former Prime Minister P.J. Patterson calling it a retrograde step. Speaking at the annual Assize Church service for the Trelawney Circuit Court at the weekend, Sykes cautioned against commercializing the occasion, arguing that the struggles of black Jamaicans should not be overshadowed by tourism or financial incentives.
There are some things in our nation's history that really cannot carry a price tag, and freedom and celebration of freedom is one of them. So those are my personal reflections. I'm speaking now in my official capacity. I must recognize that the judiciary I now have the honor of leading has its origins, as far as Jamaica is concerned, in slavery and oppression. That is a part of our history when the British came here in 1655. So must not be glossed over or minimized. It does not imprison us, but it should cause us to pause and to ask, how do we diligently and creatively pursue justice and peace in a post-colonial society?
In recent days, the PSOJ has sought to quell backlash, arguing that recent media reports have misrepresented its stance. However, it reiterated concerns about the economic impact of having two major holidays so close together, maintaining its proposal to minimize economic loss, drawing on successful models from countries like Japan and Singapore.
They did not come to the colonial experience in the way that we did, entirely different circumstances. And so for us here in Jamaica, the Emancipation Act was perhaps the first significant legislation that removed Black Africans from property to person.
It appears for several stakeholders, the PSOJ's proposal has fallen flat. Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
Still lots more to come here on CVM News at 7. Do stay with us.
Yeah man, make some noise because Burger King Double Deal Big 2 is back. The $16.50 you get 2 whole of Burger King combo is a win-win. Big 2 combos, Whopper Junior Cheese with bacon, American Chicken Sandwich or Big Fish Sandwich combo for only $16.50. Spend one money, win 2 times. Food for me and my party or just for me, cause me hungry right now. Myself and I go hungry later. You see it? One money, 2 food. One money, 2 food. Win-win. Burger King Double Deal Big 2.
JN Bank Small Business Loans is linked to so many stories of ordinary Jamaicans and their extraordinary success.
We're very proud to have helped small, medium, and micro businesses come to life and thrive over the years.
It's a demonstration of our strong belief in the business ambitions of Jamaicans. Come, talk to us. Tell us your business. Let's start a partnership and let your business plans appear in real life.
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
Welcome back. PNP representatives are calling on the government to immediately fix the Pedro Bridge, which collapsed a few months ago. They say the situation has severely inconvenienced residents and visitors who now spend twice as much in transportation fees.
Candidates for the People's National Party, the PNP, Dr. Kenneth Russell and Wavell Hines, are calling on the authorities to immediately repair a bridge which collapsed in Pedro River that has left the area impassable. Since August, when there was a collision involving a truck, persons have been forced to detour, taking a much longer route via Fort George, Matney, costing more in travel time and expenses. Access to essential services has also been impeded.
The inability to go directly from Pedro to Kellett is severely affecting families who need timely access to essential services. Residents now spend nearly 50% more on transportation as they have to take multiple taxis. They travel to the center and end, walk across the broken bridge, and then take another taxi from the Clarendon side. This situation with the rains and no place to wait is untenable. It needs urgent action.
The call is for the National Works Agency, the NWA, and the government to address this matter with urgency and to at least have temporary solutions in place to address further deterioration of the alternate routes.
We're appealing for temporary patching of the alternate route to ensure smoother and faster travel for residents. The situation is untenable and prompt action is required to alleviate further hardship for those affected.
Now, after years of waiting, farmers in a small Manchester community are counting it a blessing. The long period of struggling to get their produce to consumers won't be as tedious and less rewarding than their backbending methods of planting. More on the road they once took and how it is now with the intervention of their Member of Parliament.
This was a paradise to up at the road where they sleep.
Oh, wow.
It was all the people of Long Pond in northeast Manchester knew for years, this track.
When me have carry my little load up on my head, I go up on the town, man. It's rugged. Up on my head, me have to do it. Because no motor vehicle now come down here, so. Because I say road bad.
So from this
to this.
to this. And the cow is enjoying it.
One argument about why cows will sit or stand in the middle or to the side of the road, it's because traffic keeps the flies away from them. Well, all motorists had better be on the lookout now. And the approximately 200 farmers in the farming district of Devon, Huddersfield and Devon Farm are ecstatic, knowing after a recommendation 2 years ago, the road rehabilitation project is well advanced.
This road was put in through the Farm Road program by the MP Ardisha, and now work has begun now, and it is good seeing that the resident getting some relief, because the road was in a terrible condition when it raining. No transportation want to come down here, taxi, so the resident would go down normal have to walk all the way up to the in Devon to get taxi.
Unlike the struggles they have endured, parents are relieved to see their children afforded some amount of dignity in their commute.
I can wear my shoes, my school shoes from down here to up there, and taxi man, I can call taxi man to pick me up at morning time to go to school.
Since the fix now, all helicopter can come on the road now. Yeah man, we like what go on, you know.
Pastor of one of the churches in the area, who goes by Prophet Roy Del Roe, is also the Jamaica Labour Party's, the JLP's councillor caretaker for the Waldeston division, standing in a promise the project will be completed soon.
We know for sure that the taxi men, they didn't want to get any turnout because the road was terrible. A lot of potholes, and when rainfall it was very, very terrible. But we thank Mr. Ardisha today that this road is now coming to reality, and it will be safe, it will be very smooth, and it will be good for taxi drivers and society people to drive on this road. God bless you, Jamaica.
Indications are the job will be done by month end.
Residents in eastern Hanover are once again voicing their frustration, calling for urgent repairs to deteriorating roadways. Public transport operators in particular are feeling the strain, citing frequent damage to their motor vehicles. Ramon Gordon reports.
In all my 60 odd years, I've never seen it this bad.
Residents of eastern Hanover are restive, bellowing familiar cries for infrastructure repairs in their community. The main culprit, roads, broken, hollowed and depressed.
The road is very, very, very bad.
Public transport operators traveling the Savannah-Lamar to Bay corridor have taken particular concern, citing high fees associated with the damage caused by the road conditions.
Every weekend, we drivers have to buy parts to put on our front end.
Sometimes 3 days, 2 days, we have to up our garage. We need some help, and not tomorrow or next week. We need it right now.
Repairs to the Shuttlewood to Macfield stretch began 18 months ago, following a government allocation north of $30 million. PNP caretaker Andrea Perkis is restless for an update.
Where is the money? $37 million was granted, and it is looking like there is no money left to complete the road.
CVM TV News contacted MP for Hanover East Dave Brown for comment on the matter. He says the issue isn't financial. One of the caretakers said she was concerned that the allocation had run out. That isn't the case, is it?
No. The issue we have is it's not a representation one. It's just the contractors dragging their feet.
The MP further attributes the delay to recent rains, saying the priority now is gaining ground for the project.
I'm in dialogue. I have spoken to the contractor this morning. I've spoken to the NWA Parish and Regional Manager this morning. And, come tomorrow, they're going to be pushing. It's more like an equipment problem. They really don't have enough equipment on site.
Until a resolution is found on the equipment front.
We are not satisfied because 18 months after, we still have not reached anywhere. As a matter of fact, it is worse.
Ramon Gordon for CVM News.
And CVM News at 7 will continue in a moment.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of it. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
You're still with CVM News at 7. It's time now for our business report with Joel Crosskill.
Lots to share with you in the business report today. The government of Jamaica's first structured securitization transaction in international capital markets, involving the securitization of the portion of the Norman Manley International Airport revenue that is due to the GOJ, has secured US $480 million through the issue, a 12-year bond in the international capital markets by Kingston Airport Revenue Finance Limited, also referred to as King Air. It's a special purpose vehicle held in trust in the Cayman Islands, whose actions are limited to the terms of its debt, which dissolves after it repays its debt. The GOJ granted Kingston Airport Revenue Finance Limited its rights to 52.33% of the revenue generated by the Norman Manley International Airport in exchange for the US $480 million that was raised through the bond issue. However, views are split on the wisdom of the move. For stockbroker Ryan Strawn, it provides yet another example of the growing appetite for investment in Jamaica.
$480 million US or approaching 70 billion Jamaican dollars is a significant indicator of confidence in the Jamaican economy. It speaks to the expected resilience or the anticipated resilience that the credit markets perceive resides in Jamaica. It speaks to unparalleled confidence when you see the BA1 rating that Moody's has assigned and the double B rating that S&P has assigned to it, which are respectively both one notch above Jamaica's sovereign debt rating.
In response to a release announcing the successful transaction that said the GOJ looks forward to now being able to accelerate critical investments in domestic infrastructure while also reducing national debt. Opposition spokesman on finance Julian Robinson voiced a number of reservations.
The concern we have with this deal is that 12 years of future revenues for the airport authorities of Jamaica has been sold off to get current revenue to finance activities in the current budget. It means that going forward for the next 12 years, the AAJ will not have access to any revenues to upgrade and maintain the international airport. And we have had so many issues with Norman Manley where the facilities have not been up to international standards, the bathrooms, the ACs. And while a concessionaire has some responsibility, government through the AAJ has the primary responsibility. So selling off these revenues 12 years into the future to fund a current activity for this fiscal year is never a good thing. And I'm deeply concerned about what AAJ will have at its disposal in the future.
The notes will bear a fixed coupon of 6.75% for 12 years. Additionally, the notes are the sole obligation of the issuer, Kingston Airport Revenue Finance Limited, and there is no recourse to the government of Jamaica. In other words, the notes do not represent debt obligations on the GOJ or any of its agencies, and once the bond is repaid, the full amount of the King Air Rev share will return to the government of Jamaica.
It strikes me as a quintessential win-win. That it was 5 times oversubscribed as well shows the kind of demand that resides overseas for Jamaican assets or opportunities. And this is in the context of interest rates falling globally as well. So all in all, it is a positive for Jamaica. It should answer the questions that abound in the public space about which receivable was going to be monetized, how it will be monetized, and what the actual benefits would be.
The deal will also see Kingston Airport Revenue Finance Limited distributing any surplus it achieves above established benchmarks to the GOJ annually. However, that offered little comfort, according to Robinson.
The other concern with the deal is that if the revenues of the airport fall below a certain level, the government of Jamaica will have to step in. So there is a contingent liability for the government of Jamaica if, for whatever reason, air traffic volumes do not meet the anticipated level. The government of Jamaica will have to step in and provide the difference in that fund. So it imposes on the government of Jamaica a liability. It also, within the document, it indicates that there can be no competition for Norman Manley over this period, and it will bring into sharp focus whether the plans for Vernon Field are still on track and whether if Vernon Field is developed, whether for logistics or for commercial air traffic, whether this would impact this arrangement.
And that was your business report. I'm Joel Crosskill.
And we go to another break with our market summary.
Hi everyone, my name is Kurt Dunn.
Greetings from Kali's Kelly Yoga.
Hey, it's Robin Morrison, and I am your National Physical Activity Specialist. And it's time to make a move.
Jamaica, let's get moving again. Season 2 of the Ministry of Health and Wellness Jamaica Move series is here. Join us Wednesdays at 5 a.m. and Saturdays at 8 a.m. right here on CVM TV. Let's get moving.
Make a move now. Our days get a little complex sometimes. Often so many things make sense, yet so many do not. We are being intentional about giving prominence to the big stories in order to clarify and enlighten. Lead Story explains who, what, when, where, why, and how. Lead Story with George Davis, weekdays at 6:30 p.m. on CVM TV.
We a big deal when we touch the ground. Yeah, a KFC when we're pulling up. Anything for the taste of a KFC, big deal. The time by KFC is...
The internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment. Judge Hatchett has seen it all, and with over 20 years on the bench, she knows when someone is trying to get away with it.
This is not on Harold, honey. This is on you.
I'm a gift for you and the crew. Mobile, next season. Where you say?
That thought he grabs it down the lane. No, I hear nothing about that brother there, you know. And tell me some have a big show line up for it.
Look up on the stage, it's a bird, it's a plane, it's the innocent.
But we are idiots to allow grabs it to be treating us like idiots. Under no circumstances could that be my pay. We is a group. We have to stick together. A group of idiots. We don't even have fear to go home. My girl, you see the youth them when they sit down here, sir?
We welcome you back with the regional and international news.
We begin with news in the region. Haitian Prime Minister Gary Conille is visiting the UAE and Kenya to seek security assistance after a deadly gang attack left at least 70 dead and over 6,000 people displaced. The details from News 9.
While in the UAE, Conille said he will discuss with his counterpart on how to find regular flows of police to help Haiti's national police combat security. He will then depart the UAE for Nairobi, Kenya.
One of the aims of this trip is to go to Kenya to talk to President William Ruto about speeding up the deployment of Kenyan troops as quickly as possible to continue supporting the national police force.
Last week, the UN Security Council authorized another year of international security force to help Haitian police fight gangs. The mission has so far made little progress. Promised international support still lags, and nearby nations have deported migrants back home. Only about 400, mostly Kenyan, police officers are on the ground. Thursday's attack is the latest sign of a worsening conflict in Haiti, where armed gangs control most of Port-au-Prince and are expanding.
We do apologize for that interruption. We stand you by for sports with Orville Higgins in just a moment.
the internationally acclaimed On Stage with Winfred Williams.
At a new time, Saturdays at 8 p.m. on CVM TV.
So much more than entertainment.
If the world were ending tomorrow, what would you blow all your savings on today?
Vegas.
Hell yeah.